Javed Abdi Foundation, JAF, which also stands for Journalism, Advocacy and Fun. Please subscribe to the channel, press the bell icon, like, comment, and share.
What I am seeing is that whenever I write a story, and this I want to ask Shai first and then take your inputs, Malvika, I'm getting a lot of, maybe it's just me, but, negativity is selling, or, a story which is negative, which is anti-government or, anti-establishment, people want to pick up in the media. कि, मैं ये कहने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ कि every adversity should be turned into an opportunity. ठीक है, हमें आत्मनिर्भर होने के लिए कहा जा रहा है, या हमें and we completely feel कि हमें हमें मतलब we should try on our own, and that's what we've been doing. We've been trying to advocate, right? But जहाँ पर मुझे 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 ये लगता है whenever I am writing a story, that how can what's the positive spin on this, what's the negative spin on this, and every time there are always the two sides are there. You can weigh whichever one and see it from each perspective. But a lot of the times I've been told by media people that this is right now not a priority. But I personally do sometimes feel okay, if I'd taken this other spin, it would have, they would have printed it like that, right? Especially, you can see the Wire, or they do print our stories, or some other they're there. But Shai, why is it like that? Why does this happen?
It shouldn't be like that, but
Yeah.
mainstream media is very divided today. So you do have publications or channels which are, have taken a certain stand, and this way or that. So I think one has to be careful and one has to tread warily. Most importantly, to make sure that your words or your position is not twisted out of context or put in a given a spin that you perhaps are not comfortable going along with. Because let's face it, we all have to work within the system, get the work done, fight our battles, fight it strongly, but fight it. How do I say, without really making anybody feel that, oh, well, you're useless, or you've just been, let's face it, काम कराना है, right? We don't want to pick a battle with someone कि वो दरवाजा बंद ही हो जाए. So yes, media, how the media chooses to put your story out is problematic. I don't think one should let that put you off. Idea is to get your word out as much as possible, right? You want the issue to be highlighted as much as possible, without anybody reading it and feeling अच्छा इसकी हमेशा न्यूज़ यहाँ आती है तो ऐसा ही spin रहता है. Or if the news comes here all the time, then he or she is pro or anti. That's not the idea. The idea is the issue, right? The idea is the issue. And I think the best way to really again, I think when you go through the point of view of an affected person, right? Of an affected student, for instance, since your organization is currently campaigning so much for this online education, which is a huge problem. I think when the story comes through the voice of an affected student or a parent, no one, whatever be their bias, can deny the injustice in that, right? Whether I choose to back this side or I choose to back that side, when I have a few affected people saying, boss, I'm not even able to understand what is being said to me. I'm in whatever class 10 or I'm an engineering student. I've come this far to study and this is what I faced to come. And now look at this. You were saying COVID affects you. Look at how it affects me. I think that's an argument, and there's a justice in that, which wherever your loyalties lie, you cannot deny. Now, how it gets presented, frankly, Shamir, is not in your hands, right? You can only make sure that your words are strong, but not like accusatory, and that the person who's speaking and saying that this is happening to me is again strong and not accusatory. How that spin goes, you don't know. Somebody pro will probably mute it. Somebody anti will really play it up. Don't get too caught up with that. Idea is to get eyeballs on this coverage, because all government departments at the end of the day or the next day, and I know this, health, whatever, say क्या क्या खबर आई है, बताइए कहाँ पे, कितने लोगों ने ये story cover की. And if they say online education को लेके 6 अखबारों में आई है, दिल से अच्छा ठीक है कुछ करते हैं. They say एक में आई है, दिल से छोड़ो. So the idea is to get your issue covered, and I think the safest way to go into it is through an affected person. first. And I think that's been the greatest thing about the online campaign, because if you go on social media, इतने affected students दिख रहे हैं. आज भी मैं देख रही थी, so many people are saying sign language नहीं है, captioning नहीं है, क्या समझ में आएगा? Those are absolutely legitimate voices. You know, so sell your or push your story through those voices. Don't make it about a foundation or an organization, because then it becomes a whatever NGO versus government, or you know how these things are spun and presented. So make it about people. You know, I mean, look at the migrant issue itself. If it is all about ex-political party versus the center, you know how people's mind will be. हाँ देखो, you know, ये तो ऐसे ही लिखते हैं. But you cannot deny the injustice of people walking on the roads with their children, those pictures and their voices. Tell the story. So always use that approach with anything.
Yeah, I think definitely we can't control but the way they're going to spin it, but we do need to get our voices heard.
Get the right
Malvika,
voices out.
the right voice heard. So Malvika, what would be your thoughts on this? How can we amplify our voice to be heard? Yeah.
I think Shai has answered from correctly from the media perspective. I have had couple of negative experience. I just want to share a personal, but I kind of turned it into a funny way. But we do know that sometimes when what we want to portray is not exactly portrayed the way we want to, and it is made to create some kind of sensation or some kind of trying to seek some kind of attention. So in my own story, we know how reality media is, right? Reality TV everywhere in the world. So I remember 10 years ago when I was interviewed for something. It was a channel, they wanted to talk to me about what happened to me and who I blame for the accident, or how sad do I mean, I've lost my hand. So they said that why we want to hear your real raw story. And me being me, because it is I don't remember even once where I don't know why, but I have not uh, felt too emotional or maybe cried on camera while sharing my story, because I think when I did share my story, I had kind of overcome the accident. So I don't remember feeling too uh, or feeling any kind of regret about it. So when they asked me to share, I was just sharing the way I'm sharing it with you. I was smiling and talking that this happened, and then I did this, and then I did that. And then they kept insisting that no, you have lost two hands, and don't you have anyone to blame to, or don't you have any tears to shed, or don't you have any kind of so it really surprised me when they ask certain questions like that. But like Shai said, it's important to get the right message. It is very important to get the right words across. So I couldn't really continue that interview because I could not talk the way they wanted me to speak to. But when you are asking how do we highlight, I think uh, the role of media, and I think social media, when she highlighted that a lot, that now we are doing social media advocacy that is in our hands, and how we are I think it has enabled I think it's brought a wealth of information, social media, and it has connected so many people who could otherwise not get connected. And especially when we talk about disability rights movement all around the world. Initially, I mean, in the early years, people with disability wouldn't even be able to go out and participate in those protests or in those events. But now, thanks to social media and internet, we have the opportunity of there is no transportation, there is no nothing. We just can be there. So putting that word across, and like, I mean, this whole webinar, I think itself is it's a success. It's an example of so many people from across the world are able to connect. And I think, like she's talked, we need to, from our side, what we can do best is to keep highlighting the positive aspect. And I think the spin of the story is definitely not in our hands, but I think we can definitely do our part in spreading the correct information and spreading just factual information.
Yeah, we choose how we want to tell our story. I mean, we choose to use the words, and how we choose to see our struggle. It's so much about that. I mean, how it comes across then to the other person, to the community at large. I think above all, we should not forget that we are spokespeople, we are spokespersons for the community. We should never forget that, you know. The idea is to show that our voices count. हम जो सोचते हैं, मतलब there's a value to it. Don't let our disability, visible or otherwise, slot us कि अच्छा, you know, इन्हें नहीं पता है या what is. That's not the idea. We are visible. We have a voice. We have a point of view. This is our world. And we are tracking it as much as you do, and we have a point of view, and it's, so I think it's very important कि वो जो position है अपनी या point of view है, we are very clear and we are not afraid to voice it.
Getting into a bit more technical sort of questions. First, I'll ask you, Shai, about So when I first started writing articles or trying to do media advocacy, we have an editorial team here at JAP, which destroy my first drafts and make me rewrite most of my work, and I have to constantly go back and see how I can do things better. Sometimes I make I would say certain errors, or certain things that are too angsty, or certain things that are like not coming out well, or sometimes the sequencing is wrong. So if you can you give us some tips, like, because there's a lot of young audience that is there, on how you've talked about how the story needs to be personal, it should be coming from the community, and it should be positive. But how exactly, like, do you have any tips that when we're writing a story down, what should we do, and how do we do it so that it gets covered, and in the first draft? Like, I know everything comes with practice, and I've also been practicing a lot, but for the people who are watching, like, any tips that you can give?
I think it's, I mean, look, like in one thing I found, a lot of people are very comfortable talking about their disability, and are very comfortable saying that, I mean, this is my disability, and this is what I've faced, and this is where I come from, which is fine. There are many people who don't want to talk about it. They don't want to make that all the only thing about themselves. Both points of view, I think, are valid. I don't think there is shame in the second point of view. It's not that only sharam aati. It's just that it's not important. It's not important to me. मैंने जो challenges overcome किए, I have overcome them, and I want to speak as a person. But I think in every story you write, whether you choose to personalize it through yourself or why it affects someone, I think it always helps to begin with an example. It always helps to begin with an example of a situation, of a person or a family, or some, why. I think one very good yard, why are you telling that story? And who are you telling it to? Who is your audience? Is your audience a newspaper editor? Then don't write it. Because you are facing a newspaper editor who's usually very cynical, who'll say, ये तो हमने हजारों बार पढ़ा है, we'll come to it at the end of 10 stories. Think of your audience. Are you aiming it maybe for a parent? Are you aiming it for a policymaker? Are you aiming it for an educationist? Are you aiming it for another student? And begin it from there. Your first para has to be a hook. मैं क्यों पढ़ती जाऊँ स्टोरी, मतलब क्या है इसमें जो I want to see, where is this guy going with this angle, तो तुम कैसे पकड़ोगे मुझे? So think of that hook, and invariably in my experience a hook always works when we are all interested in people around us. जो पढ़ते हैं लोग, people who read, who want to learn about the world, we are interested in people. So I think a hook which always works, if you don't want to make it about yourself, is a person, an affected person, or how it's affecting a community or a family. And I think that always catches the eye. So look at what it is that will, because we're often writing about things which frankly don't affect other people, right? मतलब सबकी struggle उनकी रहती है. Your idea is not कि तुम वो 10 लोगों को सुनाओ. You're looking to engage with a wider audience. So what is it that will engage that wider audience? And I think typically stories of people, of communities, of families, those always work. Those always appeal and attract and touch a chord with audiences everywhere. internationally or anywhere. It's not because situations आप देखोगे तो I mean you take migration which is currently हर जगह हो रही है. Migrants are all over the world. Migrants all over the world are in a similar situation. But when you make it about a family or a group of people going or what are their struggles, then typically you get drawn into the story. You know, because यहाँ say migration in India is very different from migration somewhere else. So you talk about this world. What is it about this world you're trying to say? Because आप वो story लिख क्यों रहे हो? उसमें जब आप लिखने गए थे, there's something about that which moved you. तो लिखते समय उसी से आप शुरू करो. हम भूल जाते हैं when we sit down to write, we're so interested in writing something beautifully crafted, beautifully written. लेकिन वो story की essence हम भूल जाते हैं. तो वो ही शुरुआत होनी चाहिए. Why are you writing that? That is why I'll read it.
Yeah,
So
definitely. uh, I definitely do agree that the why is very important, and making it make the story is obviously not for the editor, but to
yeah,
tell the why. Malvika, again, what from a media standpoint, when you're writing articles, then I think Shai has covered that, but your thoughts on that. But I also wanted to ask you from giving interviews or public speaking perspective. Then when you're going into give a talk, right? When you're delivering a talk, obviously understanding your audience is important, but how do you gauge the audience, and is there a way that you speak or that you start off with? So when I'm speaking, like even I'm speaking right now, so usually I can see sometimes when I watch some recordings of the sessions get recorded, I see अरे यार मतलब मैं तो इसमें ही मेरा 3 सेकंड चला गया, या मतलब I'm speaking too fast in this I said again. So how do you get better, and how do you obviously comes with practice, but some tips to get better as well.
um I think knowledge and everything, it's an ongoing part of our life. So no, from what I the last 2 months that we have been here on lockdown, I have been actually I've taken up a lot of online courses, and I'm trying to study different subjects, but I've also taken up some courses on presentation and speaking. So couple of things that I learned, and also some things that I will share from my own experience. I think, like Shai said, in terms of writing, it also works in terms of speaking. Talking that हम सबको ये करना चाहिए और हमें ना ऐसे सोचना चाहिए. I don't think that gets a lot of attention. When you say and if I talk about that I did this, or I tried something and then I failed, or I tried something and I succeeded, I think that really connects with the audience. So just we can all talk that हम सबको किसी को stare नहीं करना चाहिए, हमको एक inclusive society के towards we should work. Talking like that, and then sharing your experience or sharing a real person's experience, and then saying that it failed or it succeeded, that really connects with the audience. So that is something that I have learned, and I hope that we talk more in first person than in third person, and talk real stories and how we experience something, even if it is something very silly, or even if it's not very important. I think it's important to share that. And another aspect of presentation, like how to judge our audience, I think a lot of times, if they, like how again she highlighted that when I'm talking about disability and overcoming disability, my audience probably one or two people from that whole event, maybe just two people might be someone with a disability, and the rest may have absolutely, they might not even have interacted with a person with disability. So how does me overcoming losing my two hands, how does it connect to them in any way? Because it's not something that you've experienced in your life. So there, I think, when that is where we talk about we make it personal, and we share we highlight about the beauty of our story, some challenge that we overcame, some the challenges that we overcome, or a positive story, or adding humor. Because i I have had a lot of instances where humor has really helped in coping up with my challenges, and it has helped me and my family greatly in overcoming our trauma. So I think that really connects with the audience, when when you talk about when you talk about things that has actually, like, positively sharing your challenge or something that has influenced you in a positive way. So and in the end, I think people really, I mean, when you just start your story and you start about what your real experience, I think people do connect, and it does not have to be that they have to have had faced that particular challenge. So these are some of the things that I have learned. And I think keeping sharing a lot of pictures. I love sharing pictures with people, because I think that really connects. You can imagine, and putting that idea in their head that this happened, and then showing them a graphic about how something happened. And I think that really connects with my audience. So I think these are just some of the things. I think most of us know them, but it really does work. It's really very effective when we share. And I think in the end, um, talking, it is just just understanding, or just maybe even taking one question from the audience. I remember this one time, someone asked me this question, that what humor exactly are you talking about, and how do you find humor even in facing a bomb blast like that. So I just give you a small example. um, when we are working, when when you are overworked, or there's so much to do, and then I tend to say I'm talking to my mother, that mummy, ye to bahut sara kaam hai, ab to ye haath se chala gaya mere, it's just out of my reach. And then my mom makes a sneaky remark, to tumhare to haath hi nahi hai, to kahan se jayega, or things like that. So these kind of incidents, so that's what I also shared with that person, and everyone laughed. So I think having humor has really really helped making people understand the whole disability, because people really do believe that people with disability do not have a sense of humor, or they're always trying to attract some kind of sympathy or pity. But like she said, we should talk about ourselves as a person, and not just stick to that one identity, that okay, I'm someone with a disability, but also I'm a person, and I have all the feelings that all of us have. So just this wholesome perspective of us.
JAF is a youth led initiative. We deeply appreciate the support of all our interns and volunteers. Thank you. You can follow us on Facebook at Javed Abdi Foundation, and you can tweet us at Rishad Shamir.